Hey guys, welcome to my channel, welcome to the stream, welcome to another video working on this guy right here. That's Dom's 1970 Dodge Charger from the movie Fast and Furious. So I'll load the credits and let's go. We're moving along. I've got my coffee, I've got a chicken in the oven, and I've got a model to build. And so we're getting to it. Last time we're working on customizing the rear end, and so I did manage to get that installed. You guys saw me working on that last time. I got my leaf springs installed. I did paint the rear differential, and I've got that all set and glued in there now. I did wind up actually gluing the tires in. They are solid, they're not going to turn. And it's a little unfortunate, the model's not going to actually roll, but you know, in reality, it just sits there on the shelf and doesn't roll anyway. So the fact that they're sitting there like that is just fine. So that's the way it's going to be, and that's the way it goes. So yeah, anyway, that's done. So we're going to set this aside for now. I'm happy that it all worked out, and it looks pretty good from underneath actually. The one thing I haven't done that I'm supposed to do is install the shocks. I don't know if the shocks will actually go in where they're supposed to now that the leaf springs have been moved inward, but we'll worry about that in a little bit. Because our actual next step in the build, after getting our interior bucket assembled, once this is finished, which it is, we're supposed to put the windows into the body of the car, which is why I've got this sitting here. So I've already gone and done most of the chrome trim around the windows. I was not happy. Thanks, airplane. I'll just wait for the airplane to take off. I wasn't quite happy with my chrome lines along the bottom of the chrome trim on the doors. And I've got to touch up along the top of this back window here. So I want to do that now before we get anywhere else. Get this done. I've got to get it done before I actually install the glass. So I will change the camera and you can watch me struggle with this. How about that? When I say struggle, it's just a little bit, if you got a shaky hand, like I tend to have, it's a challenge. Which is why I've put tape along there to help guide me and get a straight line going. Okay. So I just, like I said, I've got the chrome mostly already done, right? I got to touch up this back part here, and then I got to straighten out my line along here. It looks pretty bad, especially in pictures. You can see it's not quite perfectly straight along top here either, which I might actually touch up also, but in this case I need to touch up with the black. Yeah, anyway, okay, so Molotov chrome, this guy right here, this happens to be a refill, but it doesn't matter. I like that there's a lot in here, and I just kind of drip it down onto my brush and we go from there. Just like that. I think I mentioned before, this stuff is thin enough that you can spray it, but it's also thick enough that you can paint it fairly thick. Just need to touch these spots up. I don't really want to go crazy and try and get right on the tape, because it just might bleed. I think that's all I really needed for this side. Let's take a look. Yeah, that looks a lot better. A lot better. Okay. To me, a tape always so nice that it doesn't. It holds it pretty well. If you get Tamiya tape laid down good, Tamiya tape doesn't bleed. It's a beautiful thing. I seem to always be praising Tamiya products. Okay, let's see. Much better, much better. Okay, now our back here, the chrome trim on here is really, really thin. In fact, right in this corner, it's molded extremely super thin. But that's all we need. It's actually, if you look at it in this direction, it's pretty thick. But then when you put it straight up, it's almost disappears, right? But that's okay. It's fine. It's there, and that's the important thing. And I think that's good. I think I am going to go along the roof here. So let me just do this, and just so I can get my tape. I don't want to reuse this tape because it's got paint on it. I'm just going to do this. I'm not really going to clean my brush because I'm going to use it again right away. So let's just put this on here. Now, let's see. See, it's actually fixing it by putting chrome on is not going to work because it's bleeding up to the black. So I kind of have to do the opposite, but I'll have to do it twice because putting tape on the chrome, I don't want to do that. Molotow chrome is fragile enough that if you put masking tape over it, when you pull the masking tape off, you're going to lift the chrominess off and it just turn it to silver. And I do not want to do that. So instead of doing that, I'm going to clean my brush. Let's do this. Clean my brush properly. Okay. I'm going to grab some LP1 black. Okay. LP1. Mix that up, and then grab a finer brush. Now you might be wondering, why are you doing all this? What's the point? The point is, when I take pictures of this, you're really going to see my imperfections. So I want to touch up these little spots where I've just gone too far. It is this kind of thing that makes me understand why some guys use that chrome foil by Hasegawa. Instead of merely painting. That looks a little better. Let's see if I can improve this side. Hasegawa makes some, it's adhesive chrome film. It basically looks like tin foil, but it's sticky on one side. And that looks pretty good. I don't think I really need to improve. I don't think I can improve on that. Okay, I think we're done with our chrome. Okay, clean this brush. I'm going to call this done. And we'll grab our windows and see how they fit. Okay, so we're going to grab 4 windows. We got our windshield, our rear window, and our two little I don't know, they're triangular pieces that go right in here, right? So let's grab our clear parts and get these off of the sprue. Let's just put this aside for a second. I'll get these off of here, including our extra little nubs. Looks like we've got the remnant of a nub here. Oh. That's a nasty one on the visor. It doesn't matter, but it's there. Clearly Revell had some issues getting the clear plastic to go into the mold where it's supposed to go. I wonder what all these extra things are. This is from the injection process. That helps. Manufacturers put those in there to help get the plastic to flow into the part. And as a byproduct of that, you get these big nubs on everything. That's what all of these are for, is where that's going in. The injection is going in through all those spots. They usually do that when the regular spots, like the regular process as it flows through here, it doesn't fill this part properly. Anyway, just making my sprue a little bit smaller, cleaning those other parts up. I'm not sure what this thing is. It's interesting. Oh, I wonder if that almost looks like a radiator overflow bottle. That's what that kind of looks like. Anyway, let's get rid of these. Alright, let's clean up our windows here. This is looking pretty nasty here. I'm going to actually file that down. Our window visors need to be painted black. I'll do that once the windshield's installed though, because it's not going to make much difference whatsoever. because I know from experience almost nobody looks in your model and looks at the ceiling of the car. I'm hoping these parts of the window does not get seen. It's not a very nice looking, whoops. Okay, finally, our little triangular windows. These are going to be lefts and rights. This one came out perfect. I can't even tell where this one was connected on one side. Oh, I see it now. It just happens to be smooth. Okay. Let's start with our windshield. It's going to drop in kind of like that. I say kind of like that, but it's more like exactly like that. I like to use Tamiya's thin set. Some guys use the white PVA glue. I like the thin, Tamiya thin, simply because it just goes where it's supposed to and doesn't go anywhere else. I haven't really encountered any instances of it causing the glass to turn white or anything like that, like you would get with CA glue, which of course is always very nasty. There's quite a bit of a gap at the front that it doesn't touch, but that's okay. We'll get it at the sides, the corners. You don't need a heck of a lot unless you're going to plan on pushing on the windshield from the outside. Okay, next we'll see our little rectangular pieces. These are going to be left and right. I didn't get that taken off there very well at all. There we go. They have a little bit of an edge around them to help sit them in their little quarter spots. Definitely lefts and rights. Let's get that guy in his new home, just like that. I think that's pushed in all the way. Yep. It is kind of a satisfying look when you see the glue kind of run underneath of it. Okay, that one's done. I want to give it, give it a few seconds. Even though this is quick tight glue, I still need to give it a few seconds before I just turn it over and expect it to do its thing. Okay. Let's get our second one in there. There we go. He's in his new home. Perfect. All right, finally, we have our rear glass. Let's see how this guy sits. Just like that. Beautiful. I'm happy that that bottom part is not visible. I actually have it sitting too far down. There. There we go. Just running along here if I can. It's actually not it's not a great fit. It seems to touch on the corners here, but then either that or I've got it in upside down, which is possible. It looks fine from the outside. It's just a flat piece of glass. Anyway, it's in. It may turn out that I've got it upside down or flipped backwards. But it's in. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to leave this upside down and let that cure for a few minutes, and we'll look at our instructions and see what's next. Oh, we've got to put in our little rear view mirror. We can't forget that. That's a extreme important detail. Number 85, it looks like it's chrome. Looks like right there. Now, I know from experience on these old cars, the whole mirror was not chrome. Usually it's obviously a piece of glass in a black plastic housing. Maybe the little rod was chrome, but that would be about it. I don't think the entire mechanism is chrome. So let's do a little touch up on that. But what I do need, unfortunately, I am going to have to get this off the sprue. I can't paint it on the sprue because I need to scrape away the chrome off of this edge. Otherwise it ain't going to glue into the roof at all. So let's do this. Well, I'm painting this part black. Just not on this edge. Okay. So how am I going to paint this without touching it? Even these guys are a little bit big. I have smaller tweezers that I could use. Yeah, these are smaller. They're not tweezers. Well, these are. There we go. Okay. This is my brush. Okay. Let's paint this guy black like he's supposed to be. this little base here. The front of my mirror looks pretty horrible, but the nice part of this is that the black comes off. I can get the black off the chrome pretty easy. There, okay. Clean up my brush, allowing that to dry. I think I'm going to need this out because I got a part that's supposed to go in the frame next, which means I'm probably going to have to paint that. It might still be black on the sprue and I might not have to paint it, but we'll see. It looks like that's the steering rack, or not really the rack, but it would be the rod that goes from the firewall down to the steering rack. Or, since it doesn't look like this car has power steering, it looks like it would be the steering gear. Number 62, let's find that part. '62, this looks like some front parts, but nope, not on there. Not on this part. There's our rear shocks. Still got to do those. Not on these, but two more sprues. Looks like just radiator hoses on this one. How about this one? I don't see it. I got my drive shaft and my front disc brakes. 62, where are you? Doesn't have the asterisk beside it like this does. Doesn't have a little star, so that tells me it's not chrome. I just need to find it. 62. 62, where are you? Did I miss it on here? Yes, I did. It's right there, right in front of me. There we go. So, back to our chassis. It looks like it has to go this right here. They're a little bit vague, but it looks like it goes right there, in this spot here, like this. Let's see our next step on the next page. We know this might go right here, but that might be a molding pin mark because we've got an identical one on this side. So I'm not 100% sure it goes right there. It looks like it does right there, but I'm not 100% sure. Let's take a look on the next page and see what's next. I think we're supposed to put our interior bucket in. Yeah, okay. Interior bucket goes down with it already in. I've already done this on the firewall, right? I've already put our brake booster and our windshield washer motor on the firewall. That's those two pieces, and our brake booster there. Okay, brake booster and master cylinder, that's already in. So This is supposed to go down on here. There's no guide pins or anything. It looks like a couple of little guides there for something, but they don't actually do anything. So we go from that. This goes down like this. I'm really happy that my tires have plenty of room back here to have fun with. So I'm going to glue this down first and then put the steering rack on. Because I'll get a better idea of exactly where this is supposed to go. There's a hole in the front here. I'll show you. There's a hole right there where our steering rack is supposed to go into, right there. So that's going to be a lot easier to line up when I actually have this on the car. So I want to try and see where this actually connects for gluing, because the nice thing about this is you can just slather the glue everywhere you want. Obviously you don't want to get in there, those spots, so I'm going to put the glue on the chassis in along the rails there where I figure it's connecting. This is kind of fun because you can just paint it in glue. And I think it might be connecting here and here, and on here, in this channel here. I think we're connecting here and here also. All these spots where it feels like it's touching. A lot of it I might be wrong, I don't know. Okay. A little bit of pressure, but don't need a whole lot to get it to stick. There isn't really any movement. You can't really move it around. It sits in its spot like it's supposed to. So, and that's nice. One thing I should touch up, it looks like I've got where I put glue here. You can see that's visible, and it's definitely made it a shiny black there on that spot, and I don't like that because it's like gloss black. Anyway, she's glued in, she's not going anywhere now, so that's good. So, steering rack, you've got to go in. Let's get you in your new home. I feel like I don't have this centered actually, but it is. It feels not quite centered. I feel like I've got a bit of a space. This goes in set here, but here it's like flush. I feel like that's gonna cause a problem later. It feels like it anyway. I hope it doesn't, but it feels like it would. Just running my fingers along here, I can feel. Yeah. Anyway, steering rack. Let's put it in his little hole first and see where he lands. If I put it on a spot on that, it doesn't actually sit, it doesn't actually touch. So that's a funny thing, is it doesn't actually if I put it on that one spot right here, then the rod doesn't actually touch the firewall. So I want to put it right at the firewall. So what I'm going to do is I'll put some glue on here and kind of on the bottom here where it's touching the frame. It's not the best timing for my alarm to go off. Okay, sort of in where I want him, but not quite. Let's hope that works fine. Okay, so do that. I'll run off. I'll be back in a minute.
Moments later.
So our steering rack is in. The next thing is to put our engine in. Give our engine his new home. He's been patiently sitting out here. So let's see how he goes in. He does sit on his mounts very pretty. Fortunately, does not interfere with the power steering rack. Even though it's sitting down here like this. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be out sticking through like that, but it does. It works because it's not interfering with the engine. The engine's getting to his transmission mount, which is nice, but I want to know how we're putting in the drive shaft if we've already got this mounted. If we've already got the engine in, how does a drive shaft mount? I've got to take a look at that. I've got to look at that. I saw the drive shaft earlier. Here it is. Drive shaft has to go in. And, well, normally you would want to kind of install the drive shaft first, because you've got to slide one end into the differential and into the transmission. But if you've already got your engine mounted, how does that happen? It's got to go in there, and you see, okay, I suppose can get away with doing this. There's just enough play that I can kind of get it in the middle and then do that. Okay, so I'm not going to worry about that. The drive shaft can be put in after. Perfect. So let's put some glue. I'll put some glue on this because I can't get in there, and then I'll put glue on the engine mounts. Glue on there. And then on our mounts, where the engine's connecting here and here. Put her in there. Make sure we're all lined up everywhere. Looks good, I think. Yep. Engine's in his home. I need to prop this up tire's not tall enough. How about an old rim? That should be okay. Okay, let that glue set. Now that the engine's got his home, he's in his home, we can work on our radiator and our front radiator support or mount, whatever you want to call it. So let's grab these. 24, 25, 26. Here's our radiator support. Our actual radiator itself. And our fan shroud. There we go. Then we got a pair of horns that are going to go on here. Number 65. Let's find their horns. Are they on here? Yes, they are. 65. Two horns. It's a rare detail. Usually horns are just molded in. It's pretty rare that they make you install the horns. Okay, let's make sure our nubs are clean on here. Okay, we want, let's see, they're gonna go, looks like they're gonna go here and here. I don't know if, oh yeah, okay, that's why. We've got a brace going along here. It blocks off this one hole. That's fine. So, our horns don't really have kind of a weird detail. They have holes. Oh, I guess they're supposed to go in. They can't go in there. They've got lots of detail on one side of the horn and not a lot on the other. I don't know what they're thinking here. I think it's just supposed to go like this. And just sit in that spot, kind of like that. I don't know why the mounting part is so huge on the horn. And also why, I don't know, it's just a little weird to me. I don't think they really thought this through when they molded these horns to make you put them on. It's just a little weird. They don't sit in their little holes properly at all. Like at all. They don't sit at all properly. And it really does make it look like it's an afterthought. It's kind of stupid, really. Anyway, radiator. I'm going to clean up our nubs on the top here. I have a feeling I'm going to be getting rid of the horns. I really do. Okay, so the radiator, they're not really... You want to make sure our lower radiator hose is facing out, facing towards you when you put this in. Okay. There's also, on the other side, there's a couple of notches here and here to go with these two little pegs to help guide you in which way this is supposed to go in. And it goes just like that. Okay. I'll just use my thin for this one. I'm going to wind up spray painting this whole thing, touching it up with Mr. Surfacer. So it doesn't really matter too much. Okay, that's in. Now let's clean up our shroud for the fan. In theory, your fan shroud would fit right over the fan, in theory. So now how does this go? This goes with all our detail. You've got some extra little ridges here. That's supposed to go on this side also. Same side. Okay, and that's how you know whether you've got it upside down or not. Two little guides, rails to go in on a rad, just like that. This time I am going to use the thicker stuff to get in our rails here. There we go. And we have this piece here, G. I guess it's supposed to be a support bracket that's going to go on there. One detail we're missing is this, and I'm going to put the body on, and that's where I'm going to leave it for the day. My engine, I want to make sure, yeah, see, he's not quite happy. Before I go anywhere, before I put this in there, I got to make sure the engine is glued happily in his new home. Because it's kind of the problem. If you move it around a little bit, and all of a sudden, you know, it doesn't want to stay. Before I install this, we're actually supposed to just install this on the body, right? After we have the body on. Putting the body on is going to be a challenge. It always is on cars like this. Because you've got all this stuff that you've got to slide into the body. And if you're like me, you've got the body already nicely painted and stuff like that and polished up. You don't want to scratch it. You want to be careful, right? So let's see how fortunate I am. Let's tighten up our glues in case I knock them. Okay. Slide this in. Can we slide it in? I think we can kind of slide it over. You have to spread the body, kind of do one side at a time. You put the back in like that. There we go. Tuck that in. Let's try and tuck this in on this side. There we go. What's stopping it from? Firewall is hitting our body here. No, it's not. Something else is hitting, and I don't know what. There we go. Yes, yes. Come on, get in there. We're almost there. Click, click, click. We're in. We're in, guys. And it sits pretty flush and flat. Obviously need to touch up a little bit here where I missed with my paint. But we're in. Tires tuck in nicely, and I managed to get them pretty close. They're not rubbing on the actual fenders. They're perfect fit actually. I am really happy with that. Engine is in his home. It's not interfering with the brake booster. It looks good. Okay. I'm happy with that. And that's where I'm going to leave it for today. Okay. Looking good. Throw the hood on there just for a quick little teaser. It is interfering with something. It doesn't want to sit down flush. It's probably spark plug wire. Oh no. I'm actually not sure what it is. Oh, it's just the body. There we go. There. Oh. You get the idea. Engine sticking out of the hood. That looks cool. Yeah. A little teaser of what it's going to be. Yeah. Cool. Alright, guys. This is where I'm going to leave it for today. Got quite a bit done. We're getting there. We're getting there. Yeah. Alright. I want to thank you guys for watching. Thanks for coming out. If you haven't already, hit that like button and subscribe. Leave a comment down below if you like this stuff. If you want to see more cars. Because I do also do planes and tanks. If you're on this channel, you've already seen those going in there, and you can see my other videos. Down in the description box, you're going to find links to my Instagram and my Twitch channel where you can watch me live when I'm doing this stuff. And you can also talk to me on there and chat and stuff like that. And say, hey, stupid, you don't know what you're doing. All kinds of stuff like that. Anyway, I want to thank you guys again. And this is where I'm going to leave it for today. And we will see you all in the next one.